Welcome back to the Real Couchwives podcast, where we overanalyze all things Bravo.
Last week we did our nominations for the Real Couchwives Awards Best of Bravo 2023, and today we're going to be announcing the winners that both Iris and I have come up with. We'll explain why. We also put out polls and all of you have voted, so let's see who has made the list, from most shocking storylines to, you guessed it, best show of 2023. And we even have a last minute entry for best moment after seeing the Salt Lake City finale.
Yeah, that one definitely has to get an honorable mention at minimum.
It was a cinematic masterpiece. We were getting real life Gossip Girl.
Real life Gossip Girl. And the thing is, like, if it hasn't been like entered into the 2023 race, it's definitely the top contender for the 2024 race.
Oh, that's true, because it technically came out on January 1st, 2024.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well,
starting
we'll
off strong.
Starting off super strong. So let's get to our first award of the evening. We have most shocking storyline. And the contenders here were Scandoval. There was the love triangle square in Southern Charm. There was actually the Lindsay and Danielle feud that I think a lot of us even forgot was this year, because it was kind of superseded by like the Lindsay and Carl split. And then we had Kyle and Mauricio's breakup.
Yeah.
So a lot of shocking breakup, scandal, betrayal type things happening in 2023.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's pretty clear which one came out on top for this one.
Yes. So
pretty much unanimous.
Drum roll, please. Yeah. By a landslide, we have VPR Scandoval coming out on top.
It took everybody by storm, right? Like, nobody stood a chance, unfortunately, after the news broke.
No, that's it. And I feel like everyone is like putting everything up against it too, so like
Yes.
You can't compare. Even, to be honest, the Beverly Hills Kyle and Mauricio split, if Scandoval hadn't happened, like that would definitely be the most shocking thing, right? And like when you think about it, it is still super shocking. Like, we talked about this before, but we had never really even seen any cracks in the relationship of Kyle and Mauricio. Like, it really came out of left field. Like, watching it play out too, like they literally feel like strangers. It's just like it's
so unusual.
It's really shocking.
It is really shocking. And yeah, like I think that there were like so many good moments also, like just in Bravo in general this year, and so many like crazy storylines. So I think the fact that like Scandoval is the thing that everything else has been measured up against, like I don't want it to denounce or like downplay like how good and amazing everything else was too, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And also, like, it kind of has me thinking, like, I feel like the Kyle and Mauricio split was really big, but it didn't, like, we didn't feel as invested in it as we did for Scandoval. Like, I feel like it didn't have the huge pandemonium that we had with Scandoval, and like it kind of makes me wonder why that is. And like there's a couple reasons that I would think of off the bat. We have talked about before how like the Housewives franchises and kind of Bravo celebrities just like don't really let you in as much as like the spin-off types like VPR and Southern Charm and all that, where like they really take us on the journey. Like they're super active on social. But also I think it's because with VPR we almost felt like we were part of the storyline because it was playing out, and we were all kind of learning in real time. Like, we were learning the same time that Ariana was learning, you know? Like, it's like you almost felt like you were part of it.
Yeah, that, and like we've also just been invested in so many of these storylines over the years, right? Like the whole like, did they hook up at the Golden Nuggets? Did they not hook up at the Golden Nugget for Tom and Ariana? But also just like the storylines in VPR. Like I think, especially maybe for like, and maybe this is like more of like a younger like generation thing, but like it's very easy to kind of like relate to what they're going through. You know, the experience of them kind of like all being like, you know, bartenders and servers and like doing those kinds of things. Like it's always felt so accessible to us, whereas like the Housewives, like a divorce on the Housewives show is a dime a dozen, right? That happens constantly. People come onto the show to get divorced, so for people to like, you know, like Camille Grammer and Kelsey Grammer split up the first like minute that they were together
Yeah.
on the show. So yeah, so maybe there's a little bit of that as well that's kind of impacting how we feel about like Kyle and Mauricio.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's still super interesting to see it play out, but yeah, like honestly, once any of them go up against Scandoval, almost every single category, you're like, okay, we can't put VPR again, but like it feels like it could win in every category.
Doing a sweep. Guess we'll find out, right?
We'll find out. So the second category that we had was best comeback, and this was specifically for a Bravo celebrity who like kind of had not a great season last year in 2022, and then came out this year just with like, I don't know,
new vigor, kind of, right?
Yeah,
like,
new vigor,
yeah.
new perspective on life,
Yeah.
and they're back in our good books. Okay, I don't know if all of them are back in our good books. Maybe that's a little bit, but they've definitely having a better season than they did last year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. So the nominees for this category were Craig Conover from Southern Charm, Erica Jane from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Jax Taylor and Kristen Dowdy from VPR, Kristen Takeman from Real Housewives of New York Legacy, aka Ultimate Girls Trip, and Heather Gay from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And Carrie, do you want to say who the winner is? Since I think, you know.
Yeah, so our winner is actually the same as the all of you guys from who had voted in the polls. And it was Craig Conover. Yay, Craig! Yay. Love to see it. Craig won by 49% on our poll. Yeah, we had talked to you go Glen Coco. We had talked about this one a little bit. Craig was just becoming like borderline unwatchable on Winter House, and even on his last season of Southern Charm. Like he started off Winter House by like paying like Kyle and Amanda to have the bigger room. Yes. He like refused to clean up after himself. He would just like pop off and yell at the women. It was just like not a good look.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was interesting too, because obviously what happened with like the Craig and Paige like hookup, or kind of like whatever, the way that their relationship started, he was so measured against Andrea because Andrea had kind of been like the other option that Paige had for this like, you know, potential romance. And Craig just ended up coming up like so badly in comparison to Andrea, who like literally had like stolen all of our hearts.
Yes.
On both Winter House and Summer House. So I think that also kind of maybe impacted a little bit of why Craig like felt like he was like the wah-wah. Like, this is the one you chose? Really? Come on, Paige. But I think it's interesting that so many people also agreed that Craig has been like having such a good comeback and like totally redeemed himself from the years past.
He really has. And I feel like even if you go back to the early seasons of Southern Charm, he's always like a character that you wanted to root for. Like even at the beginning, he always just like had a bit of like a Tom Schwartz type of charm where you're just like, oh, Craigie.
Yeah.
And then like we kind of watched him just like spiral a little bit, and we were like, yeah, okay, well, where are we going? And then
yeah, he's had some good moments, he's had some bad moments, but overall, he's been some amazing reality TV. So
he truly has. And then like I just think it's really nice because his really feels like a story of actual personal growth. Like he has said that he's watched himself on Winter House, the last one, and he like really wasn't happy with what he was seeing. And I think he said like he didn't become sober, but I think he scaled down on like hard alcohol or something like that, and he just kind of like took stock of his life. I think he's also said Paige has had a really good influence on him as well. And this year, like on Southern Charm, he's just like coming in and has some pretty good perspective on, I think, everyone else. And he also has just like, he had some endearing moments. Like we talked about the tinfoil hat conspiracy theories.
The pandas.
No, I really hope pandas are real.
I really hope. That would not be nice if pandas were real.
Yeah, he's so funny. So yeah, Craig, we very much think you are deserving of this award.
Yeah, and we're hoping that 2024 is going to be just as good to you as 2023 has been.
Right. And then also on this list was Heather. And on the most recent season, or the most recent episode of Salt Lake City.
Oh my God.
Heather finally says the truth about the black eye.
It only took her a whole year to finally admit it, but here we are. Now we know. Now we know the truth.
What do we think are her motivations for bringing it out now?
I think because she knew that she kind of had to, right? Like she had, like at the end of last season, on season 3, she had said, "Oh, well, maybe like you'll read about it in my book or whatever." And so like we had been like, okay, well maybe we'll read about it in her book.
Oh
And
yeah.
then she went on that press tour, as she says in the last episode, and like nothing happens. We never find anything else out about the black eye. We all knew it was Jen Shah, right? Like we all heavily suspected, if we didn't know 100% that it was Jen Shah. So I do think that like the comparison of like Monica to Jen, I hope this is not spoiler alert, I hope everybody has seen it.
Yeah, please watch
it's
Salt
been,
Lake City
it's been out
finale
for multiple
before.
days now, guys. Like, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I've pieced it all together just from social media, and then
yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I know I was trying really hard to like avoid the spoilers because it was coming out the next day for me. But yeah, so it was just. I think that was kind of like she knew that like coming clean was not going to be a bad thing for her to do. And I think she knew B, that like the impact of her being able to compare Monica to Jen Shah was just going to be like the icing on top of the cake for the end of this season.
That's true. I mean, at least she finally said it, and now obviously they're going to continue and like keep teasing this because now it's actually going to come out on the reunion where she's going to finally tell us what happened.
Get the real story. Well, according to Jen, it's not real, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, according to Jen, who has her assistants posting to Instagram while she's in jail. So that's what her jail phone calls are. Like,
how is somebody still being paid to be her assistant? Is this person working for free? Is this like Sonia Morgan's intern situation? Like, is it Pickle or was it Pickles?
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like kind of alarming that they would still want to work for her as well. So right? I'm hoping it's Coach Shaw.
Right. At least. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just Coach Shaw. He's got like her login. That was really nice of him.
Oh yeah. You gotta keep posting to socials, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta keep up.
In the name of the Kardashians, like, oh, what was that quote? Like, Kim, your sister is going to jail. Stop taking selfies. Anyways, and also an honorable mention here is Kristen Taekman, who has made, it's not that she had a bad season, it's more that we just haven't seen her in like 8 years. Yes. And she has made her triumphant return to Ultimate Girls Trip, and she is putting all of the ladies in their place, specifically Dorinda, and it's just like so fun to watch her.
It is really fun to watch, and it makes me actually sad that like we don't have any guaranteed more Kristen Taekman like in our lives, right? Like at least everybody, or mostly everybody else on this list, like we know we're gonna get to see again. But unfortunately for her, I just don't know. Like I might just have to follow her on social media, and that's how I'll get my Kristen dose now.
I mean, I do think that this year has showed that Bravo is listening. Yeah. So I think given the reception of the show so far, they will probably find a way to put her back in somewhere.
That'd be interesting. That'd be cool. Maybe she just needs to do another Ultimate Girls Trip, the new group.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if she would go on the new Roni spinoff, because she's probably closer to the age of like those women than the legacy women, but she doesn't even live in New York anymore.
No, she'd have to go live in, well, she's in Calabasas, so she could be on the Beverly Hills. That could be kind of interesting.
That's true.
I wouldn't hate that. That would be funny though. I wonder how Brandi would feel about that.
So bad.
Probably not good. Probably not good, unfortunately.
Right, because they're friends, right?
Yeah, they are. But she's brought up multiple times, and it's just like, I'm still kind of confused how you're like such good friends with Brandi, but maybe Brandi's a different person behind the scenes than she is on TV.
I don't know about that. I mean, she's the controller of her, Twitter account and like all of the stuff that she puts on social media, and it feels very similar.
Yes, that's a good point. She doesn't have anybody behind. She doesn't have a Coach Shaw behind the scenes posting for her.
So yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. Yeah. And then our next award was actually a really hard one, and that was Best Moment of 2023. And there was a lot to choose from. The first ones that we had put together was Sheena's speech to Tom Sandoval, which was really moving. Ariana's speech to Tom Sandoval, which was also very moving, both in Vanderpump Rules. Kristen Takeman's takedown of Dorinda, like we were saying, kind of pushing her on the paused versus fired conversation. Olivia calling out Taylor and Austin multiple times on Southern Charm. And then we had to add in a new one after watching the Salt Lake City finale. So can we just back up and talk about this for a second?
Let's do it. Oh my god. So
yeah.
Carrie, this was relatively new because you hadn't like fully caught up on the season. So like, what was it like being launched into the season finale of this episode?
Yeah, I feel like this is so blasphemous, but I had actually fallen behind on Salt Lake City, and I hadn't seen the Bermuda episodes. And then I saw all of these things coming out on Instagram of like, oh, like this is the new Gossip Girl remake, like this is Pretty Little Liars, like this is Big Little Lies, and you see like all four of them, like Whitney, Whitney, Heather, Lisa, and oh my gosh,
Meredith.
what is her name? Meredith, like in the beach. Yeah. Whoever like positioned them,
oh my
like
God,
literally this was a scene from Big Little Lies. Like it was so amazing. The music, the cinematography. Like, yeah, I saw that and I was like, okay, I have to. And everyone was just saying how this is possibly like the most iconic episode. And I was like, I have to just go and do it before we do our awards because clearly this scene is going to have to come in. Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting because like I feel like they were really building up to the big twist being that like Monica didn't pay for her beauty lab like procedures and them suing each other. That was like barely even mentioned.
Like it was like totally buried. It was crazy.
The big reveal is that she's actually Gossip Girl, basically.
Yeah, which I had seen like hinted at a little bit, but I thought like when I had seen it on social media, I kind of thought that was like just us on social media, like the audience having a theory, but like to actually find out that was like the real like plot twist at the end of the season was like so incredible. And like I have to give it to like these Bravo producers again as well for like the way that they like laid out, like as you say, kind of like how they like placed them, but also just how they like played with like the time. Like we obviously knew at the very beginning of the season that this was kind of going to be like what we were leading up to, this like moment in Bermuda where something happens and somebody finds out about something, but then to kind of have the like, you know, the 3 hours later, 4 hours after, 5 hours earlier, 2 hours earlier, like just like jumping around in time and everything was so incredible. It felt like cinema. It was like, this is you couldn't write something better than this.
It's true. It's so crazy. And then also like I was talking about it to one of my friends as well, and she made up a really good point that was like Salt Lake City and Miami as well are like, she feels like it's like the evolution of like the new style of housewives. And I feel like it's because like they're both super meta, right? Like, yeah, especially Salt Lake City, like it's so driven by social media. Like I feel like off-air things are what really drive the season. Yeah. And it's also so camp. Like that was the most camp scene that you could create.
It is. It was so good. Like I can't get over it. I want to watch it again. I don't know if I've ever seen a season finale too that was like that like good. Like I just don't. I'm trying to like rack my brain of like, you know, old good seasons of like Beverly Hills and New York and like thinking about like, okay, what parties kind of like end, because that's how they usually ended these seasons, right? They'd end on a party, like whatever. I just don't know if I can like think of anything off the top of my head that like really measures up to like how I just felt watching that season finale. And like I can't think of anything. Obviously Vanderpump Rules was like probably quite close, but just for completely different reasons. Like
yes. And they do usually tie it up in some sort of a nice way. Like usually at the end of the season, they're like kind of getting over things. Although I don't know, like wasn't Jax getting punched in the face? Hey Jax, you never feel anything. Do you feel this?
That's true. That's
from
early.
Tom.
Yeah, what was that, like season 2, I think?
Yeah.
That was good. That was enjoyable.
Like, yeah, but it's probably reminiscent of that. And I do like the fact that they kind of lean into the craziness of this, like the way that they did it. It was like a movie. It was edited like a movie. Yeah. Like it was very dramatic. One thing that I did note though, without this turning into just like a Salt Lake City recap, but we like just watched it, so it's hard. Is the ladies were way more angry at Monica for creating like a troll account than they were for like Jen Shaw going to prison and lying to their face for like years and like making them all look like idiots.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is that those things probably happened very differently, right? Like they very much found out like that day, a few hours before, about the Monica thing. Like the Jen Shaw part was like probably like a slow burn for all of them, and it happened like slowly off camera. This was like this literally like this information fell into Heather's lap, if like the story's to be believed, that it fell into her lap that day, and then like within a couple hours like everybody knew. Like that's just so crazy,
right?
Like, it's just,
and you're right. And you know what, I think that is literally specifically what is making all these Bravo shows so good this year, is that like these explosive revelations are coming out either while they're filming or while a show is airing.
Yes.
And it's like taking us all along on the ride. It also makes more sense too why apparently like none of the women were talking to Monica at BravoCon. Like, and they didn't sit with her and stuff.
Yeah, because did they even do a BravoCon panel for this? I don't think so.
Oh, did they not?
Salt Lake City? I don't think so. I feel like there were a bunch of the panels that like just didn't really like happen.
Maybe because their seasons didn't come out yet.
Maybe because they like wanted to
at the time.
Yeah,
I'm not. It's true, because like I feel like if you put them all on the same stage, like
like how could you
something would have come out?
Like how? It would be impossible.
It was so crazy. And then also Monica, did you see when Monica posted on social media? It's like a picture of her basically, and then she's like XOXO Gossip Girl with like a newspaper saying that she is that account. Also, this is so late now, but Iris, do you want to explain to our viewers, if they haven't seen it yet, like basically what happened and what we're talking about?
Oh god, that's probably a really good idea. Well, so for those of you that haven't been watching Salt Lake City, the newest member of the cast is Monica, who, you know, she befriended quite smartly Heather at pretty early on into the season. I think the kind of like most pertinent information is that like they go on this Bermuda trip, basically like Heather and Monica are kind of like co-hosting it. You know, we've seen Monica throughout the season like have like major struggles with her mom, have like all these like issues with just like her finances and everything, and like, you know, kind of like, not, I don't want to say like victimize herself, because I think she like it really legitimately is going through like these like struggles, but like she's kind of like very much portrayed herself as kind of like a lesser of these women and like feeling intimidated by them. And so I think she like did a really good job of kind of like cultivating that kind of like experience, so that it's feeling very much like Saltburn too. Like
I haven't seen that yet.
Just you wait, and then you can compare the two of them. But you know, create this experience of her kind of like being like, you know, the less fortunate one, and have them all kind of like take pity on her because of her relationship with her mom and everything. And then on this Bermuda trip, you know, the truth finally comes out that after, you know, all these years, for the last 4 years, this person that they had been like, I guess, like trolling them online was actually in fact Monica, and Monica has kind of like infiltrated the group as a Dan Humphrey, if you will. coming into the group and befriending Heather, befriending like all of them, more or less befriending all of them, at least like trying to become their friends, obviously getting onto the Housewives show being like the ultimate goal, getting paid by Bravo to be on this show, while having like also like run this like, you know, smear campaign kind of like esque Instagram in the background of just all these.
It's so crazy. And like the most Gossip Girl moment was when she was like, what is the account name again?
The Reality Von Teese.
Yeah, she's like like the T like and the then T's. Oh, got it. Yeah, she's like, it wasn't just one person, it was multiple people. Like, literally, it's Gossip Girl. It's actually Gossip Girl. Like, did they just watch Gossip Girl or read the books, and then they're like, this is what we're gonna do? Like, down to the, oh my god. It's
Yeah,
not just one person, it's
it's
multiple
all of
people.
us. Yeah, it's giving the end of season 3 when all of the all of them have like graduated from high school, and the Gossip Girl's like, "You said you wanted to meet Gossip Girl? Well, look around. It's all of you.
Yeah.
You're the one sending me the tip. You guys are called Gossip Girl."
Oh my god, she should have said that. And actually, like, as I was sitting watching them all scream at each other, I was like,
Yeah.
this is how the end of Gossip Girl should have been. But instead, it was like, Dan was like, it's me. I'm Gossip Girl. And everyone's like, lol.
Oh, good for you, Dan. Did you
They're
get
like,
married?
we're over it. Yeah, you ruined our life for like 10 years. But you know what? It's cool.
Let's do it. It's fine. Just be, yeah. Cool.
So yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
So honestly, yeah, this last minute nomination has to get my vote for best moment.
Honestly, me too. I'm just riding such a high on it. It's just so good.
Yeah, but it's true. Like, was it technically 2023?
Yeah.
I mean,
had it
it's
aired
fine.
last week as it was supposed to, that would have been great. But no, we had to wait until 2024.
That's true.
If it hadn't, I think it is safe to say that Ariana's speech to Tom Sandoval was the clear winner, both in our own minds as well as the voters' minds, right?
Totally. Yes. I don't think anyone will ever not like, everyone will always remember first seeing the teaser for it, the I don't care about effing Raquel. And just the way that she was so strong. Yeah. Yeah, Ariana just killed it. Those last episodes, like, even the fact that she like was okay to go and film in those extremely raw moments, and she just was still so pointed, so eloquent, so concise. Like, she's a queen.
And even the fact that like she was the one that like she wrote to producers and she was like, "Hey, this happened." Like I think that like technically they mentioned at BravoCon that like the producers were like supposed to like get her to come in for like filming or something, and like they were literally all the producers on a call together, and then they were like, somebody like, she just texted one of them, "Yeah, but you know, just so you know, like Tom just cheated on me and was cheating with me on Raquel or whatever."
Yes, she's like, I can't come in because I just got cheated on for like 8 months.
Yeah.
So to all those people who are like, oh, Tom is the reason that she got so popular. She is the one who told producers. She wrote her own history.
There you go.
So
I love that. Yeah. Master of her own destiny.
Actually, yes. I actually just bought her book, her new cocktail book, and I've been like flipping through it. It's really good. It's really interesting. Basically, she goes through her entire relationship via different cocktails, and she makes different ones, and it's so smart. It's such a smart marketing move too, because every cocktail is like a little blurb, and every one of them is about like a different part. Like one of them I think is called not James, like Jamie or something.
Okay.
And basically what she said was that like Tom was so secretive and sneaky that he changed his name for Raquel to Jamie.
Yes.
In his phone, leading to, you know, texts that she found like, I went to the Mile High Club with Jamie or something, like so horrid.
My God.
And she also said it was like it was even more like insulting and disrespectful because her dad's name is James. Which, like,
so messed up.
I have to hope that he didn't make that connection, but like,
I don't think so. I think he's just like insensitive and doesn't care.
Yeah. Just so silly. So yeah, like there's little tidbits that she has, and it kind of goes from like the honeymoon stage to like the deception and her like rising out of it. And the thing that's really nice too is she's like, you know, a lot of people think about bartending as something I did with Tom, but like this has always been part of me, and this has been like my craft, and like this is me like regaining that and showing that like the breakup doesn't mean I have to lose those parts of myself. And I thought that was really nice.
I love that especially because so much of the storyline, I think in season 5, when she was first doing the book with Danny Pellegrino, and like he kept on like inserting himself and being like, everybody's asking me like why you're making this book, like this doesn't make any sense, like everybody's like, why aren't you involved, Tom, you're the bartender. And it's just like so unbelievable that she was like, even back then she was still trying to like stick up for herself and be like, no, like I've been a bartender, like I've been doing this, like I've worked at all these like top restaurants and bars around the world, and like this is a thing that I do. And he was like, well, I should be involved. Like, I think it's crazy that I'm not involved in every aspect of your life and I can't have everything that I want. Like, it's just like, well, some things aren't for you. And then he still inserted himself. He's still got that book. And then, yeah.
Yep.
Anyways.
No, totally agreed. So very happy. I had to support our girl. But yeah, there's so many other moments. Let us know. I'm sure there's others that come to mind.
Yes.
What were your favorite moments? We love to hear about it.
So then our next category was for Best Newbie. Obviously, the ones that were included in this list were Monica, Salt Lake City, JT, and Rodrigo, because we always got to give a little special shout out to Rodrigo for Southern Charm. And then from Real Housewives of New York, we actually had 3 contestants. We had Bryn Whitfield, Jenna Lyons, and Jessel Tank. And I think the clear winner for both of us, actually, though I don't want to speak for you, Carrie, was Jessel. I think she was just such a breakout star. I think she had like such a crazy, like metamorphosis from like where we first saw her to like to the way that like she ended on such a high note in this like most recent season of New York. And I think that like out of all of the people that we've kind of like listed on this list, like I think she's the one that we're probably the most excited to kind of like see what next year will bring for her. Yeah, just a new good housewife edition. I think she's gonna be up there with like Lisa Barlow type level of iconic.
Well, she's actually having a bit of a Lisa Barlow arc, right? Because I feel like Lisa wasn't as well liked at the beginning, and then she became like queen, baby gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's fair. To be honest, after seeing this most recent episode of Salt Lake City, I would almost put Monica in there. Not, and not even about if you like her, if you don't like her. It's really more just like, people are talking about how she is a first-time housewife causing this type of like wreckage and like stirring the pot to this extent. Like that is unheard of.
It is. It really does feel unheard of. And like, I don't know if I compared her to Brandi earlier, or I just thought about Brandi, and so now I'm bringing up Brandi. But even like Brandi, like who I think was like a major disruptor in Beverly Hills, she still came on in her first season as a part-time housewife. And Monica here is like a full-time housewife, right? Like she has secured that bag as like, and like to come from nothing to like this, right? Like we never saw glimpses of her. We never saw anything of her before this. Well, I guess technically we did see glimpses of her, but we didn't know that was her.
No, it's true. Well, it's the same way that like we always talk about how Catherine was a friend of on the first season of Southern Charm, and she like the whole plot was about her.
Surrounded completely around her.
It's very similar. It makes me wonder, do you think producers knew this when they casted her? Oh yeah, actually, because doesn't Heather say like I found like videos say of like you applying to the show being like I want to be friends with these girls, like this is my Instagram account. That's what I thought happened, but it happened so quickly I could have like misconstrued it.
No, I don't think that that's what happened. I would need to do a second rewatch, but I don't think that is what happened. But yeah, like if that what like obviously she went onto the show knowing that like that's what was gonna come out, right? Like, right? I don't know.
I mean, I would have to imagine that was probably her like hit it, like that was probably her card in her back pocket kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now it makes sense when she kept being like, I know all their secrets.
Yeah, I know all their secrets. Like, that's not something that you would do. That's something that I would do. Like, it feels like she was just like dropping too many like little hints. And even, I know you didn't get to see all the Bermuda episodes, but like in the lead up to this episode, it's really interesting how she kind of like lays out like, because so part of like what kind of like sparks like how I guess she gets like discovered is that she talks about this conversation that her and Meredith had off camera about what's her name?
Oh, the friend?
Yeah, what's her name? Oh my god.
Was it Tasha?
No, the one that's actually Angie.
Oh, Angie.
There's a bunch of them.
Right, Angie's in the show.
She's in the show. About Angie being in the Greek mafia. Because I guess there's like a Greek mafia in Salt Lake City. And so in the the first time that we hear about this like Greek mafia conversation between Meredith and Monica in like one of the first like episodes of the Bermuda episodes. What I think were like 3 episodes, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4.
There's a lot.
There is a lot. In that version of the events, Monica talks about how I think Meredith told her that she received a DM, or that. Anyways, one of the versions of events is that like Monica told Meredith that she received the DM, and then in another version of events that Monica tells, it's Meredith told Monica that she received a DM. So Monica then kind of like paints it as if Meredith is the one that's running this like fake Instagram account, this Finsta.
Yeah.
And it's just weird because like if you look from like one episode to the next, like the version of the story that she's telling like has already changed, right? Like it's half like the truths are already coming unraveled a little bit, and you have to wonder if like part of what she was hoping was that it would unravel and that like it would kind of get exposed so that she could be like this major storyline, right? Like, isn't that what you kind of want?
she clearly leaned into it too with like posting stuff on Instagram. No, it's true. So I feel like our awards are very quickly turning into just a Salt Lake City recap.
Let's talk about Salt Lake City some more. No, okay, well,
let us know if you want us to do a recap of Salt Lake City, because we haven't done it yet. I'll catch up on the episodes.
There you go, and I'll do some rewatches.
Exactly. Another thing is, I realized we forgot Gabby and Sam from Summer House, who were newbies, and I liked them a lot.
I did like them a lot. It does feel like hard to like remember them from the season. Like I follow Gabby on Instagram because I really enjoy her. But beyond that, like I don't feel like they necessarily did make like major like impacts as like newbies. I don't know.
Yeah, what they did do at least though was like I feel like they really got along with the group, and they finally like seemed to mesh in a way that a lot of the new people in the show haven't in a while.
That's a good point. Actually, that's a really good point.
But you also mentioned like the fact that we didn't remember. So
well, there you go. If we didn't remember them, like are they that memorable? Are they memorable enough to be the best newbie of 2023?
To be the best newbie, but we still really enjoyed seeing them, so I thought that would go there. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, the best Bravo show of 2023. Iris, would you like to tell us the nominees?
The nominees are Vanderpump Rules Season 10, Southern Charm Season 9, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 13, Roni Legacy Ultimate Girls Trip, and Salt Lake City 2024 Season 4.
So many good ones. Like there's so many good ones in this category, and that is so exciting because last year was so bad.
In some ways, you're all a winner.
We're all winners just for this year of Bravo.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, this is another one. Like, there was an event that, like we talked about, was just, it literally burst the Bravo bubble. Like, it went beyond Bravo. It went, into the news. It made it so that even my parents knew what this was. Like, it was just, like, unlike anything else. And like we said before, it has to go to Vanderpump Rules. Clearly you guys think so too, because you voted for them 51% as well. It just like, it was a moment in time. You cannot recreate that. If you watched it later. Like just experiencing it in the way that we all experienced it was insane.
Yeah, it really was. And that's just it. Like, there was so much good TV this year, like so impressed by all these shows. But I think the fact that like that we haven't talked about Vanderpump Rules really since like the end of the spring, like early summer, right? And like the fact that like we're now 7 months later than that, we haven't talked about it really in 7 months, and like people are still by majority talking about Vanderpump Rules or like voting for Vanderpump Rules. I think just goes to like show the strength of the season, even though like it technically
it's true.
It was forever ago.
That's a good point. And also like it's even more special because like we have always loved Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
Like it's the first Bravo show that I got into. I
Yeah.
you're like I feel like we're beyond invested in the
Yeah.
cast and the fact that it happened in this cast. And like they're probably one of the few casts that did let us in so much on it. And like it's also because of them that it grew into this craziness, right? Because they really leaned into the narrative.
Yeah.
And then also combined with like all the people on the internet who were like putting together, like it's just like every week something new came out.
Every day.
Every week we got
every
day for like months. Like it literally was all encompassing.
It never ended. Like I just remember like James Kennedy like actually like going onto people's like stories and like posting things and like commenting, and you're just like, I can't believe it. Like this must really be happening, because why would James Kennedy be talking about it otherwise? Like the level of transparency. It was like unlike anything else. It was so good. It was exactly what we wanted from our reality TV.
It also like it prompted an entirely new like template for Bravo, right? Like that they're picking up filming. They like they were done. They brought the cameras back. They really leaned into it with those new episodes, and now like a bunch of other seasons that followed, they started it with the headlines and then interviewing the people. So what happened? Like this is literally like a new era of Bravo that I feel like it's ushered in.
Yeah, it does. Well, and I think the thing is, like, I feel like for so long on like reality TV, like there would be so much unanswered questions, right? That you had to go and do like your own independent research. Like I'm thinking about like wanting to understand what happened between Brandi and Adrian Malouf in season 3. Like us having to like go onto the internet and be like, okay, wait a minute, what actually happened? The fact that Bravo, like, and I mean, it's obviously like a fine line of like how are you exploiting people and like what are you talking about, and like what secrets should you be kind of like keeping for the people that are on your shows. But like the fact that like we had to go look that up and like we couldn't figure out like what actually happened, like just goes to show kind of like where Bravo was versus like Bravo now, with like, and I think Instagram's a huge part of that. I think TikTok's a part of that. I think like social media in general has like impacted that. But like the fact that like, yeah, I just don't think that like that version of Bravo exists anymore. And I think the fact that like we're here to where we are now, like also kind of shows that like Bravo, like this is the way forward, and this is where we're going, and this is what needs to happen next.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And it's like, and it shows that like you can't get away with going on these shows and not being transparent. And now, if anything, I think they're more incentivized to do so, seeing, what happened. And also, not for nothing, it is literally now an Emmy nominated show.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
And it was the first show to go on Netflix.
Oh, was it the first show of the Bravo shows? Really?
Yeah, and now Beverly Hills is on.
Oh, that is so interesting.
I know. I would love to do a deep dive on that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what that means. I wonder what like your runner up would be, or runners up.
Oh gosh, it's hard to say, I think mine would be Beverly Hills. I'm just so pleased with kind of how they've like turned themselves around from like the last few seasons. It really felt like, there was just like nothing going on, and like it was just painful to watch. It was like too cliquey, like there were just like so many issues like deeply ingrained within it. And I still think that some of those issues exist. I don't want to like give them a full free pass on that one. But I think just in general, like I'm really glad that like we feel like we have like Beverly Hills back again.
Yeah.
I'll probably move it up.
I think that's very fair. It honestly, like I feel like we had no expectations for Beverly Hills. No. They were like negative 100.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to like, it was really bad. They were able to turn it around. I really liked Southern Charm this season. I had found it really fun. I also just love the Southern Charm crew. Obviously Salt Lake City was crazy with the finale.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I also want to give honorable mentions to Below Deck Down Under, which got me into the
Yeah.
Below Deck franchises.
Yeah.
Season 2, it was so good.
I love it.
It was amazing.
I really want to watch it.
And now I'm going back and watching older ones. You have
Yeah.
to. I'm watching older ones, and they're like not like I do think I just stumbled upon probably what is one of the best seasons of
Yeah.
Below Deck.
Yeah.
It's just such a good cast. But yeah, that was fun. And I also thought Winter House was really fun this year. Like
Yeah.
it was just like the breath of fresh air that we needed, and it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So I think Winter House, like, I hope that it'll kind of continue to get better from here. But I do think you're right. I think it's on the right path to become like a really strong contender on Bravo. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I don't think I would say it's the best show of the year, but I just find like it's just really fun. Oh, and Roni Ultimate Girls Trip.
Yeah, I do.
Legacy.
I really didn't think I was gonna like it. I actually really like it. I feel bad.
I am just like really liking that template of like breaking the fourth wall and like having the women, because like on Housewives they really don't.
No.
So I think it's like a really interesting perspective, especially Roni too, where I feel like we really did miss a lot of these ladies. You know, Ramona being kind of like asterisk because like you know problematic. But like, you know, seeing like Sonia and Luann again, like and like all of them interacting and like it's just it's filling a void.
It is filling a void. And it's funny too, like that they all just kind of came like pre-rehearsed with like, okay, I have to make sure I say eggs a la française. I have to make sure that I say Sonia Rita. I have to make sure that I say turtle time. Like they just like kind of like felt like they like needed to come with these like pre-canned like, you know, oh, remember when we said this? This was really funny. Maybe we can sell some more merch where I say turtle time. I don't know. Like, I feel like there was like a little bit of that happening, but I think that with like Kristen, it's like enough of like a shake up that it's like, okay.
Yeah. No, it was a really fun year of Bravo. It was hard to pick from all of these, and I'm really excited for what we're gonna get in 2024. I hope that it just like continues the good streak that it's in. Actually, so random, I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Southern Hospitality, which we were like pretty brutal on the first season. I'm actually liking it. I don't know if it's that I've just like come to terms with the fact that like this is what it is and like it's not VPR and that's okay. But I'm finding it more enjoyable.
Oh, good. I mean, I think the issue that I had last year with it was that like they were too slow on the upstart. Like they only got good towards like the 6th or 7th episode, which was like too late in the season, but it did eventually get good. So I think that they just like needed to like edit it and make it like a super condensed season, like tack it on to the end of Southern Charm. Like they should have done something with it that they didn't do. So I think season 2 would probably be better. I need to get into it.
And they even like they have Southern Charm people come on to the show and like they're literally there for like a blip and like they really don't try to integrate them. That's like really my biggest gripe with it. They also have this big drama that they're focusing on with like I can't even remember her name. Oh gosh, Maddie, like Maddie's ex-boyfriend or boyfriend, and like whether or not he like cheated on her. And you obviously like are watching at an arm's length because you're like, I don't really know you, nor do I care that much, so I'm not really invested in what happened. But that aside, it's also just like a fun, casual viewing.
Which is nice. Which is like, sometimes exactly what you need to, right? Like you don't need to be fully invested. You don't need to be like so up in arms because you're so incensed by like this thing that just happened. Like I like that.
Yeah. And I think that's why I liked Winter House so much because it just felt like a super easy, like casual, like don't like I can just watch this on the side kind of thing. So yeah. That's it. We did it.
2023 guys, it's done. It's over.
It's ciao. How would you describe right before we go 2023 in one word? I think we did this exercise last year. We said like dark.
Ooh, yeah. I think the word I would put would be redeeming.
Yes.
Is that optimistic and hopeful?
Yeah, totally. I would agree. Like, yeah, it's definitely the year of redemptions. It's the year of the scandals. It's the year of breakups, kind of, which is less fun, but
well,
good
it's even the year of like
television.
Bravo's redemption, right? Like I think that Bravo needed to redeem itself after the last couple years. I think they did a really good job.
It's true. It's true. And then next week we can talk about our Bravo 2024 predictions, and probably recap Salt Lake City. Not Salt Lake City.
Southern Charm.
Southern Charm.
I
But
bet
maybe
you it's
Salt
gonna
Lake
be
City will
Southern
sneak in
Charm.
there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.